Hey, what's up guys? It's Nine coming back at you once again with another pro analysis. Kind of an old series on the channel that I haven't done in a while. But after watching some of these playoff games from this weekend, I just knew I had to do a couple of them. And today we're going to be looking at Profit of the Seoul Dynasty and his insane Pharah. Now the Dynasty and the Dragons have definitely been looking like the two best teams in APAC region right now. And while we've been seeing a lot of different comps in the playoffs, definitely this Pharah comp is one that's definitely viable on a couple of different maps, but you'll still definitely see the Seoul Dynasty flex onto some different stuff come Grand Finals weekends. So one of the core things you want to be doing on Pharah as usual is keeping yourself elevated. You'll see a lot of low-ranked Pharahs just don't know how to keep themselves elevated. It's all about managing your fuel and keeping yourself on these angles that makes a Pharah actually good, right? Because if you're playing ground Pharah, you might as well just play Junkrat at that point, right? So you're going to see Profit here make extremely good use of his not only his shift, of course, but also using these rocket jumps by shifting as he shoots him the floor and his feet. He can get even more height, and oftentimes he doesn't even have to use his shift to get height if he's rocket jumping right, and of course making great use of the concussion mines as well. Now his team won the first team fight here on Busan very swiftly, and it's just him keeping himself elevated and taking these really good angles. Here he's going up against a Reaper on a Sombra, which is typically not the worst thing for you as Pharah. What's really important is, like what I've already said, keeping yourself in the air so that you can't get hacked by the Sombra. Because as a Pharah, if you get hacked by Sombra, you're gonna be in a world of pain. So you see here, he gets hacked by the Sombra, but he's able to rocket jump himself into a position where it didn't look terrible, but the Dragons, they're such a coordinated team, they managed to find him anyways. So his team here is just looking to stall. The Wrecking Ball is going to be burning a lot of time here, and he even gets nanoed here. So Dynasty definitely want to play this one out here. But I think he's... okay. Diva Bomb. Oh my god. Okay. Fitz actually manages to find like a 6-man EMP, but Void just hits the Diva Bomb of his life. He manages to find 3 people with the Diva Bomb. Now back onto Profit here, you see he'll have his Barrage, and you got to be very careful with positioning your ultimate as Pharah. Oftentimes, Pharah becomes a super huge target whenever she makes her voice line for when she wants to ult. So honestly, almost every time you ult, you should expect to die. But what you have to try and do is take at least 2 or 3 people down with you. If you're gonna die with your Pharah ult, you might as well kill 2 or 3 people, right? So he's gonna be looking for the angle to where he can do that. At least take 2 or 3 with him before he goes down. You'll see he's playing very safe over the drum here, because this drum just gives him so much protection and safety. And you see he finds a really good Barrage here. Even though he only manages to find Void, that is a really good pick-off. Getting the not only the Diva mech, but the Diva herself, while keeping yourself alive, is super high value. Oh, and he just gets into this Reaper's face. Really underrated tactic is to incorporate melees into your combos. Many heroes in general in Overwatch really benefit from using melees, and people just don't do it enough, and Pharah is no exception. If you're coming down on a low health target, just dropping right into their face to do a direct rocket shot plus a melee will oftentimes just kill a squishy outright. And he's just spamming these rockets as the Dragons are trying to push themselves back onto point. They're at 80% now, so he knows the Dragons are going to have to make the move here. So he's just trying to play safe, build up his ult, and do as much consistent damage as he can from this angle here. And Dynasty end up losing Marvel, but they're committing the Valkyrie here, so you don't know they want to stall it out. He's keeping himself really nicely away from this Reaper, but just keeping his distance, because you do not want to fight in a Reaper's face as Pharah, right? He's right above the drum again. He does get hacked, but because his positioning is so good, the Dragons can't capitalize on it. He's on top of this drum. He didn't fall to the ground. And he hears the Diva Bomb, so he tries to position himself in a place where he can't get bombed, and he still manages to find one person with the Barrage, but the Dragons still manage to follow up and end it. So I think Seoul Dynasty are still really trying to stall this one out here for as long as they could. And they actually managed to get the point. 3 people alive from the Dragons, and nobody touches the point. That is a C9 right there. And you'll see here that Profit is just playing his fundamentals really, really well. He's keeping himself nice and elevated as every good Pharah should. He's finding these really good off angles where he can just pump out consistent damage without taking too much from the enemy team. And then his ults, while he's only been getting one person with his ult, oftentimes that's really all you need, especially because you have a Mercy with you. It's not as punishing to die, because if you manage to get 1 or 2 people, the Mercy can oftentimes go in for the res and then you'll be back in the fight. So Mecha Base here, another good point for Pharah for sure. You're going to see he loves to play on this left side here. Super open, and he can just have all the angles from this left side. Excuse me. Now, as the dragons are funneling in here, you just see he wants to keep his distance and he just wants to funnel in the damage. He's backing up as the enemy team is putting pressure on him. Right now, both teams are even. Just fighting out in the neutral, see who can build up their ults first. It looks like Dragons has this one, but Profit definitely is at least... Yeah, he's going to go down. Which is fine. Alright. So he's just going to have to regroup with his team, and his team is still fighting, but they're not hard committing to this fight. Does the Sombra go down? Oh, okay. Yeah, Profit playing up on this left side again is exactly what he wants to do. He has all the angles to the different doors and tight choke points where spamming these rockets are super, super high value. You see he gets EMP'd by the Sombra here, but because he's good positioning, the Dragons can't follow up and kill him. Oh man, but that, I gotta admit, that was not a good barrage. Especially on this point, the air is really wide open. You'll see on that last point, he had so much protection playing around that jump because of the cover that the point naturally gives him. But on this one, the point is a lot more open. So if he's gonna be going for barrages like that, he becomes even more of a target. So he has to be really careful with those barrages. Especially when there's a diva on the enemy team who can just eat up everything with defense matrix. He's got to be really careful. Nice. He just collapses right onto that Lucio. If the rocket didn't get the kill, I'm sure he would have meleeed to follow it up. People think you have to play Pharah super far away all the time. And while that's fine because your rockets don't have damage fall off, getting in people's faces is just so underrated. Like, these direct body shots are doing so much damage. So if you know you're safe enough to get in their face, might as well do it. Now he's once again just spamming the choke, just building his ult. He's making sure to be taking angles separated from his team. That way the enemy team can't focus fire his team and him at the same time, right? They have to choose. Do they want to fight the rest of the dynasty or do they want to fight Profit? Which is really good, right? You just want to be playing the distance when 6 people are up. But as soon as you get a kill, you want to go in aggressive. Ah, man. He goes for another barrage out here in the open. And this one, it looked like he might have gotten away with it. But Void just follows up with some really good defense matrix. And that eats up basically all his shots. So he wasn't able to converge there. But honestly, you don't want to hold on for that ultimate too long. So I respect him trying to go for it. But definitely the execution wasn't very much there. Okay, looks like his team's gonna have to regroup here, but he just loves taking this left side. It's definitely the safest place you can play from with the longest angles, keeping you definitely safe. He's doing a really good job of avoiding getting hacked by the Sombra. Like, the Sombra EMPs have been catching him, but the Sombra herself hasn't been able to individually hack Profit. Because if this Sombra manages to hack Profit, then the 2 tanks on the Dynasty will just collapse on him. Well, except maybe Roadhog. Looks like Dynasty are losing this, but oh my god, the Dynasty Sombra manages to find an insane EMP. And Profit just cleans up 3 people here really nicely. You make it a fort. Oh my gosh. Dude, enemy team that gets EMP'd is just so easy for Pharah to clean up. Definitely really good Sombra play in the Overwatch League playoffs right now. Now, the Dragons are on 99%. That means if they win the next team fight dominantly, they just win this portion of the map. So the Dynasty need to really look to win this team fight or it's over for them. They won't be able to come back and recontest. And you see how the dragons are trying to position themselves on the right side? So Profit just rotates. He doesn't stay on that side of the map. He's rotating around near their spawn where he can keep this spacing that he wants to keep. He has another barrage here. He backs himself up as he sees Lee Jae-gon use his beat because he knows the enemy team is going to engage aggressively with that beat. He dodges the Diva Bomb and he's looking for an angle with this barrage here. Let's see if he can get off a good barrage this time. Oh! Nanoed barrage. He manages to find one. And he demexed the Diva. That was really nice. Probably wouldn't have been able to do that without the nano. So that was really clutch from his support. And then they just clean up here. So much damage. Absolutely nobody's contesting him right now. He just cleans up the map with 3 kills. Alright. That was really clean. Alright guys, so that was Profit's Pharah. I hope you guys really picked up some tips here on how you can take your Pharah game to the next level. And tell me in the comments down below if you guys like this type of videos. You want to see other pros from these playoff games, because there were a lot of good plays and games from this past few weekends, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. You enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks guys.